Hi guys, today's short video will help you understand how you can convert a user story to a test case. So user story is basically a simplified and a very short version of a requirement. So normally if you want to build a solution or software, you have a requirement from the stakeholder or developer saying exactly what they would want in the software, and your job, especially as the business analyst or the business stakeholders or representatives, will put together a user story, which is usually used in an agile project and is usually a short form of requirements to try and implement the part of the software that they need to update. So from a tester's perspective, we need to understand how to convert these short requirements or user stories to a test case. Okay, and remember with agile, the whole point of agile is to implement that software quickly and to turn things around much more quickly. So you don't want to waste any time converting these user stories to a test case or waste any time that would extend or expand the time scale or the testing plan for such a project. So as a tester, you need to understand how to quickly convert a user story to a test case, and this video will help you achieve that. So a good example from what you can see here is a short user story for a customer login form. Okay, so if you look at the description on the screen, so the short description for the user story basically describes how, as a customer, I want to reset my password so that I can access and manage my account. Okay, so and it also has an acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria is basically what conditions has to be met for this user story to be established. So the acceptance criteria in this instance is to check that the customer must have an existing account and password must be 12 alphanumeric characters to complete password reset. So 12 alphanumeric characters. So alphanumeric characters itself is uppercase letters A to Z or lowercase letters A to Z and digits or numeric, which is obviously 0 to 999 or more, or in digits format. Okay, so this has to be in those formats to complete a password reset. So how do we actually convert this to a test case? So what we do is obviously we have our test case, which is a good example of what you can see here. This is basically done manually. Normally you'd have like a test tool that you'd use. It could be a test management tool like test rail, or it could be a test management tool like a quality center, or in some cases it could be an automation tool, but obviously you have to identify and list your test cases before you start to execute them in order. So to be covering these scenarios in this instance, so the first test case, as you can see, will check with the test case description to check with if customer has no existing account and attempts a password reset. So in that instance, what would happen? So obviously we'd expect it to display an error with an error that says the customer must have an existing account. Don't forget the acceptance criteria says the customer must have an existing account. So I want to check that scenario, obviously in our test. So the second test case ID, ID2, customer with existing account attempts a password reset. So this is an example of a positive test. Okay, so in this instance, the expected result would be allows password reset as expected because it passes the acceptance criteria. Okay, the third test case ID is customer enter password less than 12 alphanumeric characters, for example 010345Z. In this instance, you get an expected result that would say displays error invalid password enter, which is correct because the acceptance criteria specify that it must be 12 character length alphanumeric character. So obviously that would be an error. So test case ID 4, enter password with symbols, for example 010345A6, that's a caret symbol, then 78 and Z. So obviously this also will display an error as expected result because of the symbol embedded in the password that is entered. Then finally, test case ID 5, enter password with 12 alphanumeric characters, for example 345, uppercase A, 6B, 78, lowercase z. So in this instance, expect the result to be password change, obviously because that has met acceptance criteria, which has to be 12 character length, 12 characters in alphanumeric, and also is an existing customer. Okay, so can you come up with any other test case ID you might want to check, or you might want to cover in this your test case? Do you know any other test you might want to explore as well? So if you do have any ideas, please feel free to add your test in here or share in the comment section of the video. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please join the community and subscribe to my channel at Learn Software Testing. We'll be sharing software testing concepts on this channel, so please feel free and join the community if you haven't already done so. If you'd like to watch more content on software testing concepts, please feel free to access these videos on my channel. We also offer software testing foundation training, so if you're interested in launching your career as a software tester, please go on our website. You can see the details below and get the information or register for our next training session. So thank you so much, guys. Bye for now.